Welcome everyone to the first part of infection and response, which is going to be communicable disease. So it says there, what is a communicable disease? Name some examples. So hopefully you can do a definition and then name some. And there's some words at the bottom to help you: bacteria, fungi, protists, communicable, vaccines, pathogens, virus. So we need to know definitions for these. So a communicable disease is one that can, where's my pen gone? Sorry, bear with me. There it is. Spread from one person to another. And there are many examples. Measles, mumps, malaria, athlete's foot. Just putting down some examples here, although there are many. Salmonella. And later on in the video we'll look at how they're spread and whether they are caused by a bacteria, a virus, a fungi, or a protist. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so a communicable disease, it is caused by a pathogen and can spread from person to person. Now, before we go any further, what is a pathogen? So if you want to have a go at a definition, pause the video and write it down. If not, let's do it now. A disease causing microorganism. So microorganism, obviously tiny organism, and it must cause a disease for it to be a pathogen. If it doesn't, it's just a microorganism. And I think we covered these on the page before. Name 4 examples of pathogens. Oh, sorry. 4 examples of pathogens. See if you can remember them. Fungi, protist, bacteria, and a virus. Okay, so we need to look at bacteria and viruses just for a minute to see what the differences are between them, because they are very, very different pathogens. So if you want to pause the video and have a go yourself, that's absolutely fine. Pause now. Right, let's get into it. Let's see what the difference is. I'm going to add some to this table though. So viruses, they're a bit odd viruses. They can't live independently. They have to live and reproduce inside a cell. Now usually that's one of your body cells, and that causes cell damage, okay, which is what can make you poorly. We cannot treat them with antibiotics because antibiotics don't work on a virus. And I'm going to add this one here. Viruses are very small. They're a lot smaller than bacteria. Okay, now bacteria reproduce by binary fission, which is very similar to, the process is the same as mitosis, except in bacteria they're making 2 identical cells to reproduce. May produce toxins. Okay, viruses don't produce toxins, but bacteria do. That makes us feel poorly, and they can be treated using antibiotics. And they are generally larger than a virus. Okay, so make sure you know those, because that has come up as a 6 marker before. So be careful, make sure you know those bits and bobs. Right, spreading. So we got 3 here, 3 pictures. That's probably going to give you a clue. Apologies, the fan's on and it's blowing my hair and it's really tickling. Okay, so we've got direct contact. So actually touching a person. We've got water. And we've got air. Now they're the most common ones, but there are a couple more. This comes under direct contact: sexual, contact. So we've got some STIs there. Contact. Now some can be passed mother to baby. Which one comes up occasionally? Okay, but these are the main ones here. Now it says, how can we reduce the spread? So pause the video, have a think. How can we reduce the spread of pathogens? Okay, let's get into it and see. Right, it says here improve hygiene. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a second. Reducing contact with infected individuals and removing vectors. Now, when we say improve hygiene, that's good, but we've got to be specific. So let's say you've got an exam question about salmonella, which is spread through direct contact. If you say wash your hands, you're not going to get a mark. But if you say wash hands before eating or before preparing food, even go one further and say with antibacterial soap, that will get you a mark. So you've got to be specific. Some people like to put in wear a mask, but this only, actually this will come under this one probably, reducing contact. This would only be used for airborne things that travel in the air. If things travel in water, there's no point in wearing a mask because it's not going to stop you getting it. Okay, so improve hygiene has to be very specific. Reducing contact, you could say isolation, we all know about that. Right, or you could actually explain. So there was a question on chickens and how would you stop the spread of salmonella in chickens? Well, you'd isolate the infected chickens. You could also vaccinate the infected chickens or kill the infected chickens, but be specific on these answers. And remove vectors. So the only vector you actually learn about directly is mosquito, which carries malaria. But I will show you in the next video another question about a vector. So vectors are an animal that takes the pathogen from place to place. Okay, and one of them is a mosquito. Right, and the last one there, vaccination. So that's more prevention because we're preventing us getting it rather than waiting till everybody's got it and then trying to stop it spreading. And there is a separate video on vaccinations. Right, so there's pathogens you need to know and what disease they cause and how is it spread. So let's get into it. First one, measles. Measles was all but eradicated. There are a group of people that didn't vaccinate children about 20 years ago. They're a similar age to my children. So it is making a little comeback, but if you've been vaccinated, you should be fine. What causes it? It's a virus. Okay. And it sneezes and coughs, so it's airborne. Right, you sneeze on somebody, someone else breathes it in. Fever, red skin can be fatal. They don't tend to vaccinate against things that aren't fatal. Although the exception is the new chickenpox vaccine, but normally measles vaccinations are for very nasty diseases. Okay. Even if you recover from measles, it can leave you with weaknesses. But yeah, caused by a virus. Right, next one. Oh, there we go, vaccination. Next one, HIV. So HIV is a virus. Okay. Sexual contact or bodily fluids. Now, the thing is with the HIV virus, it doesn't live outside the body very long, just a second or two. So it has to be kind of a direct sharing or direct sexual contact. Now, that HIV virus can sit in your body for years, and then at some point it will develop into something called AIDS. Basically, AIDS destroys your immune system, which means you can't fight anything off. Shouldn't say fight off, I don't like that expression. You can't get rid of any diseases, and so eventually you die from something like a stomach bug or a cold, because your body just can't get rid of it. Now, we do have drugs now that stop, generally, the HIV virus turning into AIDS, because you can live with the HIV virus for years, 30, 40, 50 years, as long as it doesn't turn into AIDS. Okay, that's HIV. Now, antiretroviral drugs, these are these drugs that stop the HIV turning into AIDS, and use condoms, that stops the spread. Okay, don't forget the plants. Tobacco mosaic virus. Sorry, just going to have a sip of water. As the name suggests, it's a virus. And it causes this, what we call mosaic pattern, this dotty pattern on there. And when it does that, it says lack of photosynthesis, because in this leaf here, this one, less chlorophyll, there's less green, isn't there? So less chlorophyll, less light absorbed, because chlorophyll absorbed the light, less photosynthesis. And therefore the plant can't grow. It would die eventually. Okay, that's a virus, like it says. In exams, they don't always write it out. They often refer to it as TMV, and they expect you to know what that means. Okay, rose black spots. There's only 2 plant ones. This is the second one. It's a fungus, this one. Like athlete's foot is a fungus. It's spread in the water or the wind. So if it's spread in the wind, it's very easy to spread it from one plant to another, because it just carries in the wind. And a bit like the tobacco mosaic virus, we get spots, black spots though this time. Here. Again, same as the last one, photosynthesis reduced. Less chlorophyll, less absorption of light, less photosynthesis. Okay, so how can we stop it? If you've watched my other video, anything with side on the end means death. So death to the fungus. So a fungicide will kill funguses. Fungi. You can remove the affected leaves, or destroy the plant, or isolate them. Any of those would be effective. Okay, malaria, we love this one. So malaria is a disease caused by a protist. Now, a protist is a tiny single cell that can cause disease. It does not, however, cause disease in the mosquito. So the mosquito is just a carrier. Okay, and it spreads. Can be fatal, malaria. Recurrent episodes of fever. It can go on for years when you think you've got over it, and then it comes back again. So there's lots of controls or treatments. Stop mosquitoes from breeding, use mosquito nets, get rid of stagnant water, because that's where they breed. Now, if you have a look here, this is somebody's, I'll say finger, I'm not sure what it is, but I'll say finger. And this mosquito is sucking out the blood of this person. Now imagine this person has these tiny little protists in his blood. Mosquito will fly over here somewhere to somebody else. Oh dear, here we go, mosquito. And inject that blood into someone else. The protist will now be in this person's blood. So this person will get malaria. And then the next day, another mosquito might come along and take it somewhere else. So it's literally just the carrier, but the mosquito does not get ill, it just carries the protist. Okay? Good. Next one. Salmonella. Okay, so you've probably heard of this one. It's a food poisoning caused by a bacteria, which are these weird shape down here, these purple ones. It's generally spread through food. The normal questions are about chickens or eggs, because that's the main food that it spreads through. Fever, abdominal cramps, vomiting, diarrhea. Now, because it's a bacteria, we can treat it with, oh, doesn't say. We can treat it with antibiotics. Okay. Now in this country, poultry, so chicken, turkey, duck, goose, any quail, any poultry we eat, are generally vaccinated against salmonella so it doesn't spread. And I'm sure you know this, but we can get it from uncooked chicken and infected eggs. Now this would be one where hygiene would come into play. So if it said, what will you do to your chicken to make sure salmonella doesn't spread? Well, if you're going to eat it, you need to wash your hands with antibacterial before preparing food. Cook it well so there's no pink flesh left, because that would kill the bacteria. Same with eggs. Okay, salmonella. Gonorrhea. Okay, I can never spell this one. Sexually transmitted, this one. Caused by a bacteria. So the good thing is we can treat it with antibiotics. It spreads through sex and touching. It is an STD, sexually transmitted disease, or STI, whichever you want to say. This isn't pleasant, apologise now. Thick yellow or green is usually in the mark scheme. Discharge from the vagina or penis and pain on urinating. Not a nice thing to have by all accounts. But can be treated quite well. So antibiotics and barrier methods to control the spread. So barrier method would be a condom, female condom, anything basically that stops the coming together of skin. Yeah, or don't have sex at all. That's often an answer as well in these questions. Okay, well done. Quick question then. So pause the video, have a little go, and we'll go through it together. Right, let's get into it. Hopefully you've had a little go there. So gonorrhea, malaria and measles are 3 diseases in humans. Draw one line from each disease to the pathogen that causes it. Right, gonorrhea is a bacterium. That's just a single. Bacteria is plural, bacterium is singular, so don't worry. Malaria is a protist. Whoops. Measles is a virus, no fungus there. Okay, malaria is transmitted by mosquitoes. Male mosquitoes can be sterilised, so they are infertile, so they can't father any other mosquitoes. The spread of malaria is reduced by releasing sterile mosquitoes into the environment. Explain how releasing sterile mosquitoes reduces. Okay, so these sterile mosquitoes cannot produce offspring or children, whatever word you want to say. When they're males, aren't they? So when they mate with the female, they should probably be the other way round. So when they mate with the female, they cannot produce offspring. So numbers of the young are reduced. Okay, very well done. We are going to stop there. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all on the next one. Take care.